March 8, 2024, News Report 1. On March 7, the U.S. State Department's Office of Global Women's Issues and the Atlantic Council jointly held an event to discuss the issue of female political prisoners. According to statistics from Chinese human rights defenders, as of March 6, there are a total of 3,198 political prisoners in China, including 1,668 women. Currently, 756 female political prisoners are serving sentences, and 47 women are in detention awaiting trial. The U.S. Congressional Executive Commission on China has identified 8 Chinese female political prisoners as cases of special concern. These female political prisoners include citizen journalist Zhang Zhan, who has been detained for 4 years for reporting on the Wuhan epidemic, and Falun Gong practitioner Su Na, who was sentenced to 8 years for posting photos of the China epidemic. Kelly Currie, the U.S. Ambassador at Large for Global Women's Issues, stated that the United States is calling for the immediate release of improperly detained female political prisoners and urges all those who uphold universal values to stand with the United States. News Report 2. Agence France-Presse reported that President Biden appeared very energetic during his State of the Union address on March 7, which was helpful to his re-election campaign. In the hour and 8-minute speech, Biden spoke clearly, with a brisk pace, humor, and almost no mistakes. His enthusiasm did not reveal his age of 81. Democrats have repeatedly shouted for more years, hoping he will run for president in 2024, despite his age being his biggest obstacle. Biden's performance this time relieved the Democrats. In addition, a CNN poll released on March 8 showed that 60% of respondents had a positive response to Biden's State of the Union address, with 35% reacting very positively. 62% of people believe that Biden's policies will lead America in the right direction, 59% have confidence in Biden's ability to perform his duties as president, and 63% have confidence in Biden to protect American democracy. These figures have all risen significantly from before the speech. The increase in scores for Biden mainly came from politically independent individuals. Before the speech, 51% of independents had some confidence in Biden's performance, but after the speech, this figure rose to 68%, a significant increase. Therefore, the speech was a great success, and there was no significant change in the views of Democrats or Republicans on Biden's ability to perform his duties. News Report 3. Chinese ambassador to France Liu She said in an interview with China Youth Daily on March 6 that a big country should act like a big country, and China cannot continue to deplete its resources. He said, "This light can't be hidden, why? Because even if you hide, you can't hide. Because you are already an elephant, you can't hide behind a tree anymore." Liu She also mentioned that in the past, Western countries dealt with China in an auxiliary capacity, but now it is basically equal, and in some cases, it is still looking up. This is basically the diplomatic strategy formulated by Deng Xiaoping, which was adopted in 1989 when facing sanctions and containment from Western countries. Since Xi Jinping came to power, China's diplomatic style has changed, and diplomats have become more assertive, forming the so-called wolf warrior diplomacy. Liu She has been regarded as one of the important practitioners of wolf warrior diplomacy and has made many tough statements. In April last year, in an interview with French LCI News Channel, he said that from the perspective of international law, the former Soviet Union's republics did not have international legal status, a statement that provoked strong protests from the former Soviet republics. Although Liu She has been silent for a while, some people thought he had left the position of Chinese ambassador to France, but he continues to serve as the Chinese ambassador. Xi Jinping appreciates this tough diplomatic style, although it may lead to some extreme statements, which is what Xi Jinping values. Therefore, wolf warrior diplomacy seems to have become a characteristic feature of Chinese diplomats. News Report 4. The U.S. House of Representatives Commission on Communist China held a hearing on March 7 on the bioeconomy and U.S. national security. Gallagher, chairman of the U.S. Amnesty Commission, said that the United States should take action to stop funds from flowing to Chinese biotechnology companies because these companies are obedient to the Chinese Communist Party, and the funds will be used to strengthen the CCP and the PLA, posing a threat to U.S. national security. Gallagher emphasized that the United States cannot continue to provide funds for the destruction of its adversaries, nor can it become an accomplice to genocide or other human rights abuses. He called it a life-and-death political struggle. According to a Reuters report in 2021, China's BGI Group used prenatal testing services to collect genetic data from over 8 million pregnant women worldwide and cooperated with the PLA. A Washington Post report in 2023 stated that BGI Group established laboratories in more than 20 countries using epidemic testing to collect genetic data. In order to prevent foreign countries from obtaining American genetic information, the U.S. Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Government Affairs passed the Genetic Information Protection Act on March 6, which aims to prohibit federal agencies from signing contracts with companies such as BGI Group and Wuxi AppTech, a biotechnology company. In January this year, Gallagher introduced a similar biosecurity bill in the House of Representatives, detailing the close ties between Chinese biotechnology companies and the CCP and the PLA. To limit the sale of biological characteristic information to rival countries such as China and Russia, President Biden signed an executive order on February 28. News Report 5. Reuters reported that China's National Integrated Circuit Industry Investment Fund, referred to as the Big Fund, is currently raising funds for its third fund, with a fundraising target of $300 billion. The first two funds were $130 billion and $200 billion respectively, and the third fund has now reached $300 billion. Most of the funds for the third phase of the Big Fund come from local governments, urban investment, and state-owned enterprises, a situation that has been the case in the past. The Shanghai Municipal Government, China's City Investment, and the National Development Bank have invested billions in the third fund. The third phase of the Big Fund will adopt a fund structure, commonly known as a mother fund, managed by a professional fund management company to manage 3 to 4 sub-funds, which will then invest in projects. China has increased the scale of investment in the Big Fund to accelerate the development of chip technology and to cope with U.S. restrictions on Chinese chips. China's local government funds are currently very short, but they are still investing heavily in these projects. However, so far, China has not made a breakthrough in chip technology, and the returns on these investments have not been high. News Report 6. Taiwan's domestically built 4,000-ton patrol vessel, the Yunlin ship, was delivered to the Taiwan Coast Guard on March 9. This is the third of 4 4,000-ton patrol vessels jointly constructed by the Coast Guard. The first, the Jiayi ship, was delivered in April 2021, and the second, the Hsinchu ship, was delivered in March 2022, deployed in central and northern Taiwan respectively. The Yunlin ship will be deployed in southern Taiwan. The 4,000-ton patrol vessel is equipped with weapons systems such as Qinghai rockets, machine guns, and a high-pressure water cannon with a range of 120 meters. Its deck design can accommodate drones, naval and anti-submarine helicopters, as well as Black Hawk helicopters from the Air Force's Aviation Special Forces. In addition, the patrol vessel is equipped with negative pressure isolation wards, operating rooms, and temperature recovery rooms, emergency medical facilities with screen-to-bed conversion functions, which can be used to meet the operational needs of the Ministry of National Defense. Recently, mainland China has continued to harass Taiwan, prompting Taiwan to strengthen its response capabilities and equipment. News Report 7. According to the Korean Central News Agency, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un inspected a combat training base in western North Korea on March 6 and visited a artillery unit's live-fire exercise on March 7. Kim Jong-un inspected the troops for 2 consecutive days, urging the Korean People's Army to strengthen combat training exercises, improve combat capabilities, and be prepared for war. Since 2023, North Korea has continued to issue various military provocations and amended its constitution to designate South Korea as a hostile country. In response to North Korea's military threats, South Korea has strengthened its cooperation with the United States. On March 4, South Korea and the United States conducted the annual joint military exercise, Freedom Shield, using twice the number of troops as last year. North Korea warned on March 5 that the Freedom Shield military exercise coordinated by South Korea and the United States would come at a high cost. News Report 8. The U.S. Embassy in Russia issued a security alert on March 7, warning that a terrorist attack could occur in Moscow within 48 hours. American citizens in Moscow are advised to avoid large gatherings, stay away from crowds, and remain vigilant. According to the Moscow Times, the Russian Federal Security Service announced on March 7 that it had thwarted a plan by the Islamic State to attack a Jewish synagogue in Moscow. This incident occurred after Russia invaded Ukraine, and the U.S. Embassy in Russia advised American citizens living in Russia to take necessary security precautions. In February last year, the U.S. requested its citizens to leave Russia. News Report 9. The Hong Kong Economic Times reported on the Hong Kong Centilene Leading Index, a leading indicator of the real estate market. According to data from March 8, the index was 144.19, down 0.8% month-on-month, reaching its lowest level in 7 years. Among them, the index of large estates fell by 0.94% month-on-month, the index of medium and small units fell by 0.89%, and the index of large units fell by 0.46%. The Centilene Leading Index reflects the trend of Hong Kong's second-hand housing prices, which have fallen by 2% since the beginning of this year. Yang Mingyi said that during the Spring Festival, the market atmosphere was cautious, and transactions were sluggish. After Financial Secretary Chen Maobua announced the cancellation of all property price control measures, overall transactions increased, but second-hand property transactions did not increase significantly. It is expected that in the short term, second-hand housing prices will still face downward pressure, and the buoyant sales of first-hand housing will drive the real estate market to rebound, but this effect is unlikely to be transmitted to the second-hand housing market until late March. News Report 10. According to reports from the Asia Radio, the Hong Kong government announced the legislation of incitement offences in Article 23 of the Basic Law, which stipulates the relevant provisions of the incitement offence. According to the bill, the maximum penalty for incitement offences is 7 years, while colluding with foreign forces can result in a maximum sentence of 10 years imprisonment. The bill also stipulates that incitement actions are not limited to violent acts and include acts such as publishing texts, speeches, or publications. In addition, the bill lists Chinese state agencies, the Liaison Office of the Central People's Government in Hong Kong, and the National Security Office as targets of incitement, and any hateful or contemptuous remarks against these agencies will be deemed illegal. Chan Langsheng stated that it may be illegal for the media to report negative news about the Liaison Office of the Central People's Government in Hong Kong, which could lead to increased self-censorship by the media. The bill also involves acts involving foreign intervention, joining foreign intelligence organizations, and failing to report confidence in treason, with offenders facing imprisonment of up to 14 years. In addition, Lin Dinghua also pointed out that if a Catholic confesses to a priest involving state secrets, the priest should also report the believer, otherwise it would be illegal. The passage of this series of bills may have a significant impact on freedom of speech and news reporting in Hong Kong, sparking widespread social attention and discussion. News Report 11. According to Kyodo News, renowned Japanese manga artist Akira Toriyama passed away on March 1 due to acute cerebral hemorrhage at the age of 68. Akira Toriyama's studio issued a statement on March 8 stating that Akira Toriyama's funeral has been held, with the date of the memorial service pending. According to Akira Toriyama's wishes, the studio declined offers for condolences, offerings, and flowers. Akira Toriyama made his debut in 1978 and released Hurral in 1980 and Dragon Ball in 1984, with a total circulation of 260 million copies, adapted into various forms such as anime and movies. He was a highly respected animator and manga artist.